I'm Untitled Kumar. Welcome to my series on functions. We'll discuss a very important concept, and that is to find inverse of function of function. Normally, we had been considering inverse of functions, but this time we're talking about inverse of functions, right? The example is, given function f of x equals to 3x over x minus 1, where x is greater than 1, find f inverse of x, write its domain and range. Part B is, find function of function x, right, function of itself, or, so this is a nomenclature. We also write f of x, right? So these are the two ways, that is the short form. And C is, find inverse of function, right? You can pause the video, answer this question, and then look into my suggestions. So let's begin with the normal case, which is we are given the function f of x equals to 3x over x minus 1, where x is greater than 1, correct? Now at x the function is not defined, it approaches infinity, right? Now what happens when x approaches large value? When x approaches a large value, infinitely large, since x is greater than 1, in that case, f of x approaches 3, right? 3x over x, this x will be much larger than 1, so we can write this as 3x over x, or we can say that f of x will approach 3, right? So that is your horizontal asymptote. So if you sketch this function, you're going to get a graph which will be kind of like this. Let me sketch here. So we'll have a vertical asymptote at 1, and we have a horizontal asymptote at 3. The graph of the function will be kind of like this, approaching infinity when approaching 1 from the left side, and 3 when approaching infinity, right? So that will be the graph of the function. So from this graph, we can write down the domain and range of the function and its inverse, correct? So we can do that. So clearly, as far as the function f of x is concerned, its domain is x belongs to real numbers where x is greater than 1, since we are given that condition, right? And the range range is y belongs to real numbers where y is greater than 3, correct? So how about f inverse x? So if we have to write for f inverse x, then these will swap, right? So what we'll get here is that the domain will now be, for f inverse x, will be greater than 3, right? So it be x belongs to real numbers where x is greater than 3, and the range will be, they will swap, correct? So y belongs to real numbers where y is greater than 1, clearly. So that is going to be the domain and range for the function and inverse of the function. But let us now find the inverse of the function in the given case. Now to find inverse, what can you do? We'll follow the standard steps, that is, we can swap x and y. We are given y equals to 3x over x minus 1, so we can swap to find inverse. Of course we are swapping x and y, so we get x equals to 3y over y minus 1. Now we'll solve for y, right? So we get x times y minus 1 equals to 3y. So bringing it these terms together, we can say that either way we could shift. We could take this on the right side, right, or either way. So we'll bring 3y to this side. So we get xy minus 3y equals to, this is xy, and then minus x. So we're taking this x on the right side. Now y is common, so we get x minus 3 equals to x, and y is equal to x over x minus 3, correct? So that gives you the inverse of the function, f inverse x as equal to x over x minus 3. Clear? Now, for this particular inverse, as you can see, x has to be greater than 3, right? At 3, this is not defined, so the domain is 3. So they swap, right? That's the whole idea. So I hope this part is clear to you. We have found the inverse of the function, which is f of x equals to x over x minus 3, where x is greater than 3, correct? So that is part A, and its domain and range is given there. That is the domain and range of f inverse x. Clear? Now let's do part B on a fresh page. So we'll find function of function. We are given this function. Let's do part B now. So we already done this. We found that f inverse x is basically equal to x over x minus 3, where x is greater than 3, correct? Now let's do function of function. So function of function is basically function of f of x is this, right, which is 3x over x minus 1. So now we'll replace x with 3x over x minus 1. So we could write this as, so 3 times, instead of x, we'll write 3x over x minus 1 over, instead of x, we'll write 3x over x minus 1. Clear? And we have minus 1 here. Now we can multiply by x minus 1 both numerator and denominator. So we get 3 times 3, 9. X minus 1 cancels, 9x in the numerator. In the denominator, we get 3x minus of x minus 1, right? So that is, we have 9x over 3x minus x is 2x, and we have minus, and minus becomes plus 1. So we get the function, we can write this as f2x, right? That is function of function as equal to 9x over 2x plus 1. Is that clear to you, right? So these are the steps involved. So we replaced x with 3x over x minus 1. So we got the final expression as 9x over 2x plus 1, right? So that is our part B. Now let us find inverse of this particular function, right? So to find inverse again, we'll kind of swap. So we get x equals to 9y over 2y plus 1. So we'll do the same procedure as we did last time. So cross multiply. So x times 2y plus 1 equals to 9y. Bringing 9y to the left side, or we can bring x times, this time 2y to the right side. I want to keep this x positive, right? So we get here 2xy plus x equals to 9y, or we can say x equals to 9y minus 2xy, or x equals to, y is common, 9 minus 2x, or x divided by 9 minus 2x equals to y. So that gives you the inverse of our function of function as equal to x over 9 minus 2x. Is that clear to you, right? So that is how we get inverse of function of function. Perfect. So I hope this strategy which we just applied is absolutely clear, right? Now, As far as the domain is concerned, as you can see from here, it is not defined for x equals to 9 over 2, right? So in this case, x is greater than 9 over 2 is 4.5. So that is going to be the domain of our present function or function, right? Inverse. Is that clear to you? So that is how we are going to solve this particular question. You can see from here that here again we have a horizontal asymptote at 4.5, right? And so the range and the domain swaps. So same relation as we saw last time. So I hope the steps are absolutely clear. Now this is a very important and unique question. Many times you may be confused to see that f square x, what it means. It means function of function. Perfect. So that is how we can actually solve this. Feel free to write your comment, share your views, and if you like and subscribe to my videos, that'd be great. Thanks for watching and all the best.